Andrew Oliver is one of about 8 people in the world living with Prinz-Aftermos syndrome. He's the oldest known to have it and the only one in New Zealand with the condition. The extremely rare syndrome is the result of a mutation in one of his chromosomes, which means that at 35 years old, he has the mental age of a 6-year-old and suffers many other symptoms. For the last 15 years, he's had a special relationship with Fonterra tanker drivers.
We went on to night shift for the milk pickup, and so he was always home, and you'd hear the tanker, and learnt what it was, came out to see it occasionally, and then once in a while we'd talk to the driver, but then it became, with Andy, the normal thing is something like that becomes a habit, and so he had to be out to see the tanker, and that became part of his nightly routine.
Andy's nightly routine consists of a list of things he has to tick off. Every night he draws a picture to give to the tanker driver. He has to watch the weather report on the 6 o'clock news, then he has dinner and a bath. But the last thing to tick off is the tanker.
And if the tanker hadn't come, he wouldn't go to bed. And so he had to see the tanker. And you know, this business, I'm up at 5 o'clock in the morning. We simply didn't know when the tanker was coming. You know, you might get 2 o'clock in the morning or something like that. And he wouldn't go to bed until the tanker had come.
For over a decade, Andrew's parents managed his tanker visits until one day, Ken says, he came to a breaking point.
Deirdre had just been diagnosed as having had a minor stroke. I was absolutely out on my feet, you know, trying to keep the farm going and everything, you know, surviving on 3 or 4 hours sleep. And I just run out, I hit the wall. And so I phoned the call centre and actually started crying on the phone. I was just so shocked. I just said, look, you know, my life has become impossible, and it just explained what was going on. But you know, I need sleep, and I can't get sleep until this boy's in bed. The person at the call centre, she said, well, I think we can help.
Fonterra is the world's largest dairy exporter with around 10,000 farming families as stakeholders. After hearing about Ken's call, the company decided to change their entire milk tanker schedule in the Te Rapa district to make sure Andy could get to bed on time. Ken is now guaranteed a pickup anywhere between 6:30pm and 8pm. Fonterra shirt, check. Fonterra hat, check. Bike lights, check. Bike horn, check. And Andy's good to go. When Andy hears the tanker, the honking ceremony begins.
Up you go!
As the tanker drives down the driveway, Andy follows the tanker on his bike.
Look at that!
Well, it's not something we encounter every day, you can tell you that.
That's Kevin Healy, and he's known Andy for almost 15 years.
He draws a picture for us, and we take them back to work, and we put them on the wall at work. And you know, it's a special relationship, and everybody knows Andrew.
On top of Andy's rare syndrome, he also has 5 types of epilepsy. So the Te Rapa district tanker drivers have been briefed on health and safety procedures and what to do if Andy had a seizure during a tanker visit.
A lot of us guys that have been here before, we know what to expect, and we have an in-cab screen which has a warning along the bottom to make sure that drivers are reminded that to be careful going down the track. Just in case Andy's floating about, you know. That's programmed into the screen, and that would come up on every time that vehicle comes into this farm. That would come up before you goes.
And the dialogue is similar every night.
He has to know the driver's name. Normally ask them what they have for dinner, how many loads they've got, have you been to the neighbours?
Yeah, he likes to know where we've been and have we been to see Mr. So-and-so, and he likes to talk about the trucks. He knows quite a lot about the trucks.
Nobody wants this tanker.
Good, it's a good one. It's a new one. Really new, this one, Andy.
These drivers mean a lot to Andy, but Kevin says Andy means a lot to them too.
We had one of our drivers came out and he noticed that Andrew's bike was looking a little bit dilapidated, and he came back and sort of ran past the idea at a team brief meeting, and we all thought that was a very good idea.
So the district's tanker drivers held a sausage sizzle fundraiser to buy Andy a new bike, and company staff from all around the world pitched in to help.
So Andrew got a new bike, and you'll probably see it's got his #1 fan, Frontier fan on the back and things like that. So we were able to set it up and really have it good for him.
One of the few things he can do independently is ride his bike, which he can ride around and then to visit the tanker. And yeah, it's a huge part of his life.
The tanker drivers have supplied Andy with a uniform, a high-vis Fonterra shirt and a hat, and have also given him a model tanker, which is a part of his treasured truck collection. 65-year-old Ken, who has his PhD in chemistry and has been a dairy farmer for nearly 4 decades, says the change in pickup time has meant a lot to the family.
Now, a big outfit like Fonterra doesn't have to do that. They simply, could have ignored the request, but no, they came through, and we're sort of forever grateful.
Kevin says the 15-minute visit to the farm to drain its milk vats every evening is a special treat for the tanker drivers on that shift.
We like to come out here. I'm pretty certain most of the guys really look forward to it. You realise that you're lucky, how lucky you are that we're able to do this. If we can make Andy's day, well, hey, that's the icing on the cake.
For First Up, Indira Stewart.